Hi guys, Yanis here from Scan Heating, and today we will explain why the tank is dripping on the unvented hot water cylinder. In this case, just to change a little bit the routine, I use the air source heating pump, not the boiler, but don't worry, doesn't change something. Regardless what's the heat source we use it, solar, air source, ground source, or classic boiler. Doesn't matter if it's oil, LPG, or natural gas. The reason the tank is on the unvented hot water cylinder side dripping is completely the same. In order to do slightly more easy for everyone, I create the combination valve to show more or less how it looks like in the reality, and I have one with me to show you, which is this one here, and more or less I try to simulate here. And this particular one, if we check, it is 6 bar here and 3 bar here. Let me see if I can show you on the camera. 6 bar this one and 3 bar this one. Yeah. And some customers ask me, Yanis, I can see drips here on the Tundish over there. Or sometimes looks like it's a little tap is nearly open. What's happened? Why this one happens? What's going wrong? First of all, we have to agree before we proceed to the next steps that every system needs maintenance. I don't know why people and customers, I don't want to speak about the engineers because I don't want to mess around, but the customers ignore that the air source heating pump needs annual service or the boiler, and let's leave the air source heating pump, the cylinder which is part of the air source heating pump, the cylinder which is part of the central heating system needs also maintenance. But the customers, they don't ask for maintenance, or the engineers, they don't offer or the annual service as a combination. If we leave without maintenance the unvented hot water cylinder, unfortunately, the air inside to the expansion vessel start to disappear. And when this air inside to the expansion vessel disappear, then we lose the flexibility to bring the balance inside the cylinder. What I mean balance, and let's explain very easily. The water, when getting hot, the size expand. I don't want to speak you academically about what figures and what's the expansion every Celsius temperature, etc. But when the water goes from 5 degrees to 80, 70, 60 degrees, the size getting bigger. Because we're talking about the room seal system, this expansion go here on the expansion vessel, and when the cylinder getting hot, the air inside here expand, and when getting cold, the air also move this direction. Let me explain you one more time. When the temperature on the water getting high, then the expansion vessel has this shape, hot. When getting cold, has the bottom shape, cold. And this fluctuation happen in daily basis as long as the water getting hot, cold, getting hot, cold. This expansion vessel eventually lose his ability because it's not 100% airtight and need maintenance. Maintenance needs to discharge with nitrogen or with air when we do the annual service. But let's say in this case uh, the ability of the expansion vessel is quite limited because it's on the last legs. They need discharging or replacing as well. What's happened when the hot water getting hot cannot really expand anymore because here is full of water. And when you try to expand, cannot expand anymore. As a result, the excess of that water has to go somewhere. We have two ways to take this excess of the water out. One is the PRV, which is on the combination valve, which I show you here. This is the PRV, pressure relief valve. And also we have on the cylinder PTRV, pressure and temperature relief valve, which is on 7 bars and 90 degrees Celsius, and this one is on 6 bar. The good news is nothing wrong with that, because keep the system safe, and when this one damaged, the Tundish started working. I don't know why, and I don't want guys to make bad comments, but a lot of people just go to the installation and change only this bit here without to discharge the expansion vessel or replace the expansion vessel, or without to check what's the ability to regulate the combination valve of the pressure. And after a month or 2 months or 3 months, if you're lucky, the tank is still dripping. The engineer going back and says, maybe I have to discharge a little bit the expansion vessel. Let's say in the ideal condition, the expansion vessel, it works. Never is going to be back to new condition, but definitely is going to be back here, and we give the ability to expand. But the tank is still dripping, because what's happened, as soon as the tank starts, the PRV start to dripping, unfortunately, is very unlikely to stop to dripping. That's why keep dripping, regardless if we discharge. Then the customer says, listen, still dripping, what we can do? Then the engineer thinking, oh, maybe it's the PTRV. I will explain you later on how to check that. Normally, this drops, if it's quite close, it's very hot. And this one is quite cold. Of course, there are other ways. You have to disconnect completely this pipe and see if that's dripping, and you have to disconnect completely this pipe to see if that's dripping. And replace again the expansion vessel and the PRV, and says, oh, that's cool. After 6 months, this one's still dripping. Why? Because to bring the balance in the system is a very, very important thing. And with the lamp scales and the very hard water in the UK, the combination valve, unfortunately, headed as well, cannot regulate perfectly and give us the 3 bar. And unfortunately, in this case, we have to replace the combination valve and the expansion vessel. If we did that at the first stage, we're never gonna have any problem for the next 5-6 years, as long as we do annual service. Unfortunately for everyone, there is not shortcut. We cannot cut corners. The physics does not forgive mistakes. There is not, unfortunately, easy solution. Combination valve has to be replaced and expansion vessel. The funny thing is, when I go to the houses and the people show me, sometimes a certificate that the expansion vessel has been serviced as well in the cylinder, I ask, where is the service valve to do the expansion vessel? And of course there is no service valve. Of course the customers, they don't understand what I'm saying, but the thing is, it doesn't matter what the customers understand or not, the engineers never did the service. I hope to help you in this video. Any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to give me a message. Please like, subscribe to help this channel to see as many people as they can, and thank you one more time for the bottom of my heart for your support. Thank you.